sourdough pizza dough from scratch. Right now I already have a starter that's already been activated. It's about more than double the volume, but we're not going to use this just yet because first what we have to do is autolyse. So I already have a pre-mixed flour. It's about, I think it's 600 grams of all-purpose flour and then 60 grams of whole wheat. And then I have 470 grams of water. If you don't have a kitchen scale, I would recommend doing that. Get more precise measurements as opposed to using volume or cups or anything like that. Okay, so I'm just going to pour it in. This is about a 75% hydration dough, which is relatively higher compared to what I've done before. So if you want to get in over just so you kind of see. What I'm doing now is just hydrating the flour. And this is called, really just mixing the flour. This is really important that you just do this with the flour and water and not add anything else, okay? This is gonna help kind of kickstart that gluten development, which is what we wanna do. You're not mixing it completely, you're just making sure all the flour that is there is completely hydrated, okay? And you might wanna just use your hands to get the last few parts. All right, so it should just be a shaggy dough, meaning it's not completely incorporated. It's just, you see the flour is starting to take on the water, and then we're gonna let this rest or autolyse for about 30 minutes, and then we'll start adding our starter, and that's gonna help the rising process. After 30 minutes, it's been about actually 40 minutes now of autolysing, it looks like this. So if you remember beforehand, it looked like more flaky and clumpy, and now it's kind of smoothed out because that's the flour incorporating the water. And so now it's time to start with our starter. Okay, I'm going to take 150 grams of the starter, and this has been going for about 4 hours, and I also want about 12 grams of salt as well. Okay. What I'm going to do is just pour this on top. Okay. And I'm going to pour my salt on top as well. And what you want is maybe just a bowl of water so you can wet your hands. That helps with no sticking. And so we're just going to kind of incorporate the salt and the starter in with our dough. So you know you're done when you don't feel the salt on the surface anymore. But here's what I did to incorporate. So I just mixed my hand with some water. Mixed my hand with water. It's whatever. So I wetted my water with hands. I wetted the water with my hand, and then I'm just gonna do a little pinch and fold. Okay, so pinch and fold, and at this point it's pretty much done. Okay, so you just want to make sure you don't feel any grittiness, and do not add any flour if it starts to get sticky. Just wet your hand and keep going. Okay, at this point we are going to cover it up and let it do a bulk fermentation, which is really just the time when we set it on the counter and let it rise. So the longer it takes to ferment, the more complex the flavors start to get as well. So we're just gonna let this sit on the counter, and then after about 30 minutes, we're gonna do some folds. And those folds are gonna help kind of activate, or not activate, but build that gluten structure. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that when we do it. But we're just gonna let this rest for about 30 minutes, and then we'll go and do some folds and then keep the fermentation process going.